صلى الله وسلم عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين المنتجبين يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ووجدك عائلا فأغنى. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. For the love of Sayyidah Khadija, with the loudest of our voices, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the purification of our hearts and the hastening of the reappearance of our beloved, the 12th Imam, with the loudest of our voices, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Once again, mu'mineen and mu'minat, lovers and the followers of Ahlul Bayt, we thank Almighty for gracing us with this wonderful moment and wonderful opportunity to commemorate the painful departure of Sayyidatul Quraysh, Khadijatul Kubra, from this world. I take this opportunity first and foremost to express my heartfelt condolences to the Imam of our time on this painful occasion. And secondly, heartfelt condolences to our great scholars, our Maraji, to each and every one of you, lovers and the followers of Ahlul Bayt. The verse I've just quoted is from Quran 93, verse number 8, Surah Al-Duha. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala in this beautiful verse mentioned, وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى, and He found you poor and He made you rich. Now, departing from this beautiful verse, the topic I would like to discuss tonight is Sayyidatul Quraysh, the leader of the women of Quraysh. Now, the examination of tonight will be of the following brief stages. The first stage, we'll look at the status of Sayyidah Khadija in the sight of Allah and the sight of Ahlul Bayt. Second stage, we'll focus on some of her contributions to the religion of Islam. Because we often hear Khadija contributed. What exactly did she do? It's important we look at some of those contributions so that I and you appreciate this lady and emulate her footsteps. Because at the end of the day, we gathered on a night like tonight to do what? Not just to commemorate, but most importantly, for the commemoration to be a vehicle, a channel for each and every one of us to determine, to change, to become a better person, and to become a true lover and the follower of Sayyidah Khadija. I cannot claim to love Sayyidah Khadija when my behavior or my interaction or my movement are contrary to the behavior, the interaction, and the movement of Sayyidah Khadija. And in the last stage of our examination, we'll then look at her status in the sight or in the lens of our beloved Prophet. All of us sitting here tonight, or wherever people may be, Muslims, we will not be here practicing this Islam the way we are practicing if it wasn't of the effort and the contribution of Khadija and of course the sword of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen. So therefore each and every one of us here, we owe it to Khadija. Big time. And as it's important, we appreciate her. And I cannot overemphasize on the need to appreciate this great lady. Now look at her status. It's a very fascinating status. What she managed to achieve. As a result of those achievements, she built status for herself with Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and with Ahl Bayt al-Ismati wa Tahara. First thing first, kindly look at these lines and pay attention to them. All of us know very well, Sayyidah Khadija was very rich. To use the word very is understatement. She was extremely rich. She employed many men of Quraysh. You know Quraysh? They had this pride. But Khadija Salamullah alayha employed so many of them. Some of the sources I read, and they are coming out there, indicate that Sayyidah Khadija Salamullah alayha owned more than 80,000 camels. That time, remember, if even today you owe 10,000 healthy camels, you know you can raise your shoulder a little bit. In a good way, not in an arrogant way. Not only those camels, Khadija owned, as per traditions, many tons of gold. And she had that time so many slaves. And her business wasn't just in one place. She had businesses in different places, like Misr, Egypt, like Habasha, Ethiopia, and I'll indicate to some of the cities she had, inshallah, businesses in going forward. Narration tells us that time Khadija Salamullah alayha was the richest in Makkah. Not the richest woman, the richest of all in the holy city of Makkah. You can't build a mosque without money, Habibi. It's a taqwa. We all need taqwa. But without money, you can't build anything. The only Prophet made it very clear. If it wasn't of the wealth of Khadija and the sword of Ali ibn Abi Talib, I wouldn't be able to build and establish this religion. So she was the richest in the holy city of Makkah. But you know what is fascinating? Look at this. Kindly. Khadija, she would send more than 40,000 camels to different cities for business. What are the cities? Narration recorded them. Number one, Egypt, as I mentioned. Ethiopia, Sham, Yemen, Bahrain, Ta'if. Then of course Makkah, because Ta'if is outskirts of Makkah. She used to send people to go and trade with more than 40,000 camels. And Khadija salamullah alayha used to make a lot of profits as a result of this status. Top-notch Qurayshis, aristocrats of Quraysh, higher level Qurayshis, made so many attempts to propose Khadija. They wanted to marry her, and some of them were willing to give thousands of camels as their mahar to get Khadija as their wives or their wife. But Khadija, she had what is called basira, foresightedness. What is having foresightedness? Is to know where I was, to know where I am, and to know where I'm heading to. That is to have the basira, not the basar. Many of us, we have the basar. You can see me, I can see you. But can you see me with your heart? Can I see you with my heart? Khadija could see things with her heart. Why? Because these eyes lie, this tongue lie, but the heart doesn't lie. She saw that. And hence, when Sayyiduna Abu Talib salamullah alayhi suggested to the Holy Prophet, why can't you work for this lady? Abu Talib salamullah alayhi wa suggested to the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet took the decision and the advice, and he began to work for Sayyidah Khadija salamullah alayha. And when he went for that trade, he went with one of the slaves of Khadija by the name Maysara. Maysara monitored the akhlaq of our beloved Prophet. When he came back, he informed the Khadija. But before Maysara informing Khadija, Khadija spotted the Nuru of Nubuwa and Risala in our beloved Prophet. Obviously, unfortunately, there are some narrations out there, you can make your own research, that Khadija married twice before marrying our beloved Prophet. One narration said she married Atiq ibn Abdullah al-Makhzumi, and then of course, whether he died, the marriage did not work. Then she married Abu Hala at-Tamimi, and thereafter she married the Holy Prophet. Good number of our narrations refute this notion. From our perspective, the first person she married is our beloved Prophet. Only enemies who wants to belittle the status of our beloved Prophet and Fatima salamullah alayha would go to say Khadija married two people and she had children, Zainab, Kulsum, and Ruqayya. Some of our tradition says these were children of the Holy Prophet, but they did not survive, and the only surviving one is Fatima to Zahra salamullah alayha. So some of the narration says she married Rasulullah when she was 18. Some said no, she was in her 20s, as opposed to the known notion that Khadija salamullah alayha married Prophet when she was 40 years. Lovers and the followers of Ahlul Bayt don't go with this. She married the Holy Prophet when she was young. And now look at that basira of Khadija. Allahu Akbar. Khadija was sitting with some women in Makkah, and she saw a man coming from far, but she couldn't tell who is this man. What she could see was only light and shade protecting that man from the harm of the weather condition. She looked at the women, she said to them, can you see something there? So yes, we see a man coming. She said, not only the man, can you see something around him? They said, no, we can't see anything. She said, no, but I see he's been protected. There is a light around him. There is a shade around him. They said, no, we cannot see anything. Khadija, you are hallucinating. And they said, okay, then wait. They waited. Here comes the Holy Prophet, and they saw the light around Prophet. And Khadija said to them, I told you there is a light, but I didn't know that it was Mohammad coming. This narration tells us, he came to report to her the profit they made out of the business. So you cannot be lazy. If you are not working, work. Don't rely on handouts. Go work. Don't only rely your hand down there. You also try to have the upper hand. Afdalul Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen worked for his wife. And if you go to the tradition of Ahlul Bayt, our Imams worked. Our Amir al-Mu'mineen worked. Today when I and you go for Umrah or Hajj, and we are entering Mecca through Medina, where do we get in a state of Ihram? Masjid al-Shajara. That Masjid al-Sadara was a date farm belonging to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he gave it as charity to the Ummah of our beloved Prophet. Khadija didn't propose the Holy Prophet. After seeing that light, she said to him, I have a favor to ask. He said to her, what favor do you want? He said, will you marry me, O Muhammad? Can you imagine? This prophet, at one point he was a yatim, an orphan. And he suffered the pain of being an orphan. While he was an orphan, his grandfather looked after him. Suddenly he lost the grandfather. Then the uncle took over. Suddenly he lost the uncle who was his pillar of strength and support. After the uncle Abu Talib, who took over to wipe off the tears of our beloved Prophet, is Khadija and her beloved daughter Fatima al-Zahra. And now look at her status in the sight of Allah. Allah will send Jibreel to the Holy Prophet. This narration to the house of Khadija. Jibreel came to the Holy Prophet and he said to him, Ya Rasulullah, is Khadija around? Rasulullah said, Khadija is not around. You know what Jibreel said? When she comes, to tell her, Inna Rabbaha yukri'uha salam. Think about this. That her Lord is passing his salam. What's the secret of the whole year? Ramadan. What's the secret of Ramadan? Laylatul Qadr. Isn't it? That's the secret of Ramadan. We come in every night. Why? Laylatul Qadr. The whole year, Laylatul Qadr is the most important. What makes Laylatul Qadr pleasant? Salamun hiya hatta matla' al-fajr. Salam of Allah to the servant of Allah on the night of Qadr. Salam of Allah is powerful. Allah sent that salam to Ibrahim when they put Ibrahim in fire. Ya naru kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. That salam of Allah made fire cold for Ibrahim. You know what is the best thing in heaven? It's not the food, it's not the hurim in. Man, you hear hurim in, you jump left and right. Huri, they get excited, man. Jannah, what is more important than Jannah? You know it's not huri. You know what is that? Salamun qawlan. Salam of Allah to the resident of heaven is higher than anything Allah in dunya sent Jibreel to the Holy Prophet. Inform Khadija, I, Allah, is sending my salam to Khadija. You're not waiting for salam seriously. You're just waiting for that salam to come. That's why we say, Subhanaka ya la ilaha illa Allahumma inni abdatu salam bihamdik. The secret is Laylatul Qadr. That's it. Even a moment before you depart from this world, going to Sakarat, there's one thing which will ease the Sakarat. Salamun alaykum bima sabartum fa ni'ma uqbad dar. The angel will say, Salamun alaykum bima sabartum. Salam of Allah on you on account of being patient in serving Allah in this world. So Khadija received that salam. But you know, Allah loved Khadija so much on account of her love for Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Fatima Zahra lost her jewel, Khadija. When she lost Khadija, Fatima Salamullah alayha went through series of series of masa'ib. And Allah wanted to console Fatima. What did he do? He sent Jibreel to the Holy Prophet. He said, Ya Rasulullah, tell Fatima, the heaven of Khadija is between the heaven of Maryam and Asiya. Allah did that to what? To console Fatima, Salamullah alayha. So Sayyidah Khadija is of greater status in the eyes of Allah. In the lens of our beloved Ahlul Bayt, let me give you just one or two examples, then we go forward. Abu Abdullah, when he was addressing the people at one point, you read the narrations of Karbala, he said to them, أَتَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ جَدَّتِي هِيَ أَوَّلُ نِسَاءِ الْكَوْمِ إِسْلَامًا. Don't you know that my grandma was the first woman to embrace Islam? Why are you attacking me? Narration tells us, Ali alayhi salam and Khadija alayhi salam, they were the only to pray behind Prophet for 7 years before any other person joined. And that is why in the ziyarah I quoted earlier on the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah, what do you say? Assalamu alayka yabna Khadijatil Kubra. You don't just say Hussein is the son or the grandson of Khadija. No. Anything that is linked to Hussein is Nur and Khair and Barakah. Because Prophet said Hussein minni wa ana. So you cannot link Khadija if Khadija is not a Khair and Barakah. So she is of the highest status. If we have another tradition of Imam al-Zaman, where we said, Assalamu alayka yabna Khadijatul Kubra. That Imam Sa'ib al-Amr is what? Is the son of Khadija. Now you've read Islam, you've read Quran. Khadija was there right from Iqra. Allah says in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, وَالسَّابِقُونَ السَّابِقُونَ. Ulaika, Khadija is in the forefront of Sabiqun. She was in the forefront of Islam. She accepted Islam when it was not functional to do so. Allah said, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ. As-Sabiqun, they those the beginners of Muhajir and Ansar. Wallah, the mother of Muhajir and Ansar is Khadija al-Kubra sallallahu. Remember, she gave birth to Fatima, don't forget that. And Fatima, without her, no 11 imams. So go to Khadija. That tells you that when we recite in the ziyarah, كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. First of that Al-Ham is Khadija. It's Khadija. Because the rahim of Khadija, the womb of Khadija is mutahhar. And that womb is where Fatima Zahra stayed for 9 months. And because of the barakah that the womb, now you have a Hassan and Hussein up to Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. We need to appreciate Khadija. So that is one. Number two, look at her specific contributions. I cannot mention all because of time. But inshallah, what I'm going to mention will open up your desire and enthusiasm to do a lot of research. We owe it to Khadija, brothers and sisters. See, this lady, when Prophet came back home from the cave of Hera, and he informed her of Jibreel coming down with the Iqra. Also, we don't believe that tradition, that he came and Khadija covered him, he was scared. And then she had to go to Warakat ibn Nawfal, the Christian. We have it in our books, but really, Prophet didn't know that he's a prophet. Christian Nawfal knew it, and still Nawfal didn't become a Muslim. Look at it. But that already is good. She came, Zammiluni, Dassiluni, cover me, wrap me. And Khadija wrapped him, and she told him there is a guy, don't worry, let him consult. She goes, no. Prophet knew he was a prophet. From Gari Hira, he writes to Khadija. He informed Khadija, this is what I've seen. She was the first to believe in prophets. But my point is here. Upon hearing that from our beloved prophets, anyone should do that to our community. Khadija Salamullah Alaiha looked at Prophet that moment and she said to him, oh my beloved husband, from now, whatever I own is all for you. Whatever I own is for you. Put it in the way of this religion. From that day, Khadija was the sole contributor to the growth of this religion. How? Narration tells us. Prophet relieved so many Muslims of their difficulties with the wealth of Khadija. Welfare is important in our communities. These fingers are not the same. Wallah, if there wasn't wealth of Khadija, Islam would have finished. Without your donations, our communities won't get anywhere. Now, look at the tradition from Bihar of Allama Baqir al-Majlis. He said, كان رسول الله يفك في مالها. Prophet used to dig down into the money of Khadija. To do what? في الغار والعاني. For anyone who comes with any disturbances and suffering, Prophet will go into the world of Khadija and will take and give. Then, back in the situation, وَيَحْمِلُ الْجَمِيعِ. Prophet used to contain every challenge of people through the wealth of Khadija. To such an extent, he would say to people, anyone who wants to go for any hijrah, if you don't want where you are, I will donate from the wealth of Khadija for your peace of mind. The hijrah came to Habasha, Ethiopia. And the hijrah to Ethiopia were in 2 batches. The first batch were 7 people, Prophet sent. Second batch were 70 people. All, without exception, with the money of Khadija. She paid everything. So without Khadija, how do you do this? Some of us say donate to stingy. You only come, eat and go. If you don't have, you don't have. But if you have, follow the footsteps of Khadija al-Kubra. Not only that, you all know Halima al-Sa'adiyah. Halima al-Sa'adiyah is the nursing mother of our beloved prophets. She went through challenges in life, hardship. She said to the prophets, I need some help. Khadija was there. Prophet said, Ya Rasulullah, give Halima al-Sa'adiyah 40 sheep. Khadija gave 40. Take it. And that alleviated the sufferings of who? Halima al-Sa'adiyah, Salamullah alayha. Narration tells us, for every propagation of Islam in the holy city of Mecca, the only wealth he depended on was the wealth of Khadija. That is why Prophet said explicitly, Ma nafa'ani malun qattun, ma nafa'ani malu Khadija. There is no wealth that has benefited me in a true sense of benefiting like the wealth of Khadija. Khadija is Khadija. Islam is Khadija. We cannot forget this lady who openly gave everything to Islam. But you know what is sad? Prophets and his lovers were sanctioned at the valley of Abu Talib, isn't it? Some said 2 years, some said 3 years. Check Abu Talib. Economic sanction and social sanction. Don't trade with them. Don't interact with them. They relied only on the money of Khadija until the moment they had nothing but only one cloth. Allahu Akbar. Narration says she spent everything, and what to eat was difficult for them. They had only, she said, I and the Holy Prophet would depend only on a cloth. Fatima saw that, young Fatima. And that is why Khadija, at the valley of Abu Talib, would sit next to Ayman, and she would cry. Ayman would ask Khadija, why are you crying? She said, it is the wish of every mother, not only to be present during the marriage of her daughter, but to also give something during the marriage of her daughter. But I've got nothing to leave behind for the marriage of Fatima. I want you to understand this, brothers and sisters, to appreciate it rather. That when Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala mentions in Quran, رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار. So there are certain men لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله. Transactions, buying and selling, will not divert them from remembering of Allah. They will establish their salah and they will give zakat. Zakat of whatever form. The first of all, salat of whatever form. The first of all is a Khadija salamullah alayha. Well, the zakat we have in Mecca is not the zakat we have in Medina. The salat they had in Mecca is not the format of salat in Medina. The salat we are doing now is what was legislated where? In Medina to the Munawwara. But she was praying and establishing salah behind our beloved prophets. So Khadija gave it all and remained with nothing but happy because she knew she gave it in the way of Allah. Now last point. Her status in the sight of the holy prophets. You all love prophets, I have no doubts. But we may be of different levels when it comes to our love for prophets. Beautiful tradition. Prophet said, Ruziktu, I'm blessed with the love of Khadija. He said it. Meaning Allah blessed him with the love of Khadija. And as we mentioned last night, what is love? It's existential relationship between the perfecter and the perfected. So the fact that Prophet was proud of the love of Khadija simply tells us one way or the other, Khadija is also one of the means of the perfection of our Prophet. If nothing at all, Khadija gave him Fatima, and Fatima is the Kawthar of Prophet. Let alone the wealth she gave the Holy Prophet. So if you tell your wife, I love you, you are my means of perfection. If you tell your husband, I love you, you are my means of perfection. So Khadija is a means of perfection for our beloved Prophet. How can you imagine Islam without Khadija? I don't know. It's impossible. But now go to the next line. Prophet respected and honored Khadija to such an extent, just seeing the friends of Khadija was enough for Prophet to remember Khadija. One day, old lady came to the house, and Prophet stood up. He honored her. So the wife of the Prophet, Aisha, she said, Ya Rasulullah, why are you doing that? Look at the response of the Rasulullah. He said, Kanat ta'tina iyam Khadija. This lady used to come to us during the lifetime of Khadija. She reminded me of Khadija. My honor for her is the honor I have for Khadija. He respected Khadija. We are told the Holy Prophet would slaughter and would ensure that the meat are also distributed to the friends of Khadija. What would he say? Remember this line, you all know this line very well. What would he say? Saddaqatni idh kazzabatni an-nas. She believed in me when the people called me a liar. Today is easy to say I'm a Muslim. That time, Quraysh were up in arms to kill the Holy Prophet. And here is a beautiful lady, aristocrat of Quraysh, wealth, family, name. But she said, no, I want to defend this orphan. Quraysh were calling him, Innaka lasahirun kadhab. You are a magician and you are a liar. Khadija said, no, I believe in him. Saddaqatni idh kazzabatni an-nas. But look at the next one. وَوَاسَتْنِي بِمَالِهَا. And she strengthened and supported me with her wealth. It's not easy to give money. Do you think it's easy to give money? It's not. The money is wait for. It's better you see bank balances are big, although you don't spend it. You have this bank balance, you sleep well. But if you go on the app, NetWest, Shinoma Adri, what is the name of the other bank? The bank balance is going down. You don't sleep well. It's not easy to give out. But Prophet said, Wallah certainly be maliha. She wiped off my tears with her wealth. Could you imagine what Prophet Quraysh could have done without the wealth of Khadija? And then he said, وَرَزَقَنِيَ اللَّهُ مِنْهَا الْوَلَدْ وَلَمْ يَرْزُقْنِي مِنْ غَيْرِهَا. Then Allah blessed me with children from Khadija, and He did not bless me with children with any other of them. That's the status of this great lady, my dear brothers and sisters. Now in conclusion, we all have lessons to learn here. Few lessons I and you can learn from Khadija. And kindly pay attention to it, because for me, take away from lecture is the most important. Number one, her iman was unshakable. You need to build your iman, my brother and sister. You need to build it. Don't be
half-baked, half-cooked Muslim, half-baked, half-cooked Shia. Today I'm a good Muslim, the next day I'm not. Learn from Khadija. Quraysh were throwing every dust at the Holy Prophet. They sidelined him because an offer. But Khadija held on to the Holy Prophet. Build your iman. My dear brothers and sisters, that's number one. Number two, look for halal rizq. Don't be crook. Don't be greedy. You just want to make money. I just want. La. You know, if you become greedy and blind seeker of money, you know what happens? You deprive your children the blessings and barakah. Look at the nasl of Banu Umayyah. Erased, deleted, finished. Why? Because their tummies were filled with haram. Look at the nasl of Ahlul Bayt. Forever alive until Qiyamah. Even on the day of Qiyamah, we will chant the praise of the nasl of Ahlul Bayt. Why? Because they ate nothing but halal and tayyib. Well, sometimes you see our family zigzag, children haywire. I'm not saying everyone, haywire. Today Muslim, tomorrow something else. Father today Muslim, Ahlul Bayt, tomorrow something else. Muharram, jump Ya Hussein, Ya Ali. After Muharram, no salah. Check your food, a lot of haram in it. Check it. Don't take it lightly. Don't take it lightly. Banu Umayyah memorized the entire Quran. Imam Zayn al-Abidin looked at his father. My beloved father, why are they attacking? They are praying. They memorized Quran. Abu Abdullah, we will mention, you know it. لِأَنَّ بُطُونَهُمْ مَلِيئَةً بِالْحَرَامِ. Because their stomach is filled with haram. You may be praying, but salat is doing nothing to you. You may be fasting in Ramadan. How many people fast and they gossip? How many people fast and they are too mean and cheeky? How many people fast and they offend? That shows that there is some drops of haram in us. We learn from Khadija. Allah. Learn. This is crucial. It's easy for me to be happy. Can you tell your children all the food you're giving them is halal? Before you die, can you tell them, can you write in your will, oh my sons and daughters, whatever I fed you from the day I brought into this world are halal and I can stand on the day of Qiyamah to fight for it. If you can't, it is not too late, Habibi. Learn from Khadija tonight when you go home. Khadija halal. Money finished. She left nothing of money. Zero. Nothing. But she wasn't greedy, she was satisfied. She trusted in Allah. Be satisfied. Trust in Allah. The little you have, make Allah ka shukr. Allah ka shukr. Mawla ka shukr. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ Azidan lakum doesn't mean wealth only. He may give you the wealth, but no. What's azidan lakum? Satisfaction. You will be satisfied. Some people say, Azidan lakum, Sheikh, but you told me when I'm grateful I will get more money. But I've been grateful to Allah, my bank balance is getting lower and lower every day. Azidan lakum, sukoon. That's number two. Number three lesson we learn from Khadija. Salat. Salat. No jokes. Makkah, they were throwing cabbages. Where was she praying behind Prophet? Masjid al-Haram. The salat is different from what you are doing now. By then we don't have salat. By then there was no fasting like this. All this happened in Medina, by the way. This fasting you are doing, Allah gave it to Prophet in Medina. Salat like this, Allah gave it to Medina. That last 10 years of the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In Makkah was only Tawheed and praying in a different form. But the Khadija, Quraysh would throw every garbage, every dust on the Prophet. But Khadija and the younger Ali ibn Abi Talib, what would they do? They would pray behind the Prophet. Calm rain, calm shine, difficulty, easiness, good days, bad days. You like it, you don't like it. It's nothing but La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
The last one is what many don't want to hear. Money. Donate. Donate. Khadija is the embodiment of donation to Islam. She epitomized that beautifully. That is why Allah built a place for her in Jannah. What lesson do we get from here? Can we pay attention to this lesson that we enter Masala? Try not to be left behind. Wallahi, remember what I'm saying. Try not to be left behind. What do I mean? When donation is being sorted, even if it is £1 you can afford, Allah give. You know what will donation do? Tajsimul a'mal. It will be transformed. You know, in Aqidah, we have a session called Tajsimul a'mal. On the day of Qiyamah, how will you get your halal? Your deeds will be transformed into the bayt, the house. Every deeds are going to be transformed. Not only that. Anytime you do one good deed, like tonight you donate to Hussainia, to our mosque. Donate tonight. Donate. When you do one good deed, this tradition for Imam Jafar is very fascinating tradition. You know what Allah do? Say for example, Shamim uncle. Shamim uncle is, mashallah, one of my role models, man. Shamim uncle donates. You know what happened? Allah becomes so happy and will create one angel to serve humanity. We have a tradition that when you do one charity, one salah, Allah will then create a lot of huris in heaven for those who will go without married. And if you are married, your wife is better than a huri. Forget about huri. Some men, when I say huri, they enjoy, but forget about huri. Your wife, but if you don't have a wife, inshallah, the huris, they will massage you a little bit. Donate tonight. Don't go out of this door without donating in the name of Khadija, even if it is 1 pence. Say, I am donating to the mosque, I am donating to Imam Barga in the name of Khadija to Kubra. I'm not taking this lightly. We all have our hajat here. If you don't have a hajat, then wake up, go home before Masai. I repeat, if you don't have any hajat, go home. Everybody has hajat. I have my difficulties, seriously, and I'm telling you all of your difficulties. Donate in the name of Allah on the eve of the 10th of Ramadan, which marks the painful departure of Khadija from this world, who donated generously to the mission of Islam. I am also donating this year, Allah. Relieve me of my sufferings and pains. Go see the wonders of Allah. Let's donate, and you'll make Imam al-Zaman happy and proud. What we remember Abbas? Because he gave everything for Islam. What remember Hussein? Why? It's not just money. Hussein gave money. Because that Khaymagar, he bought it with his money. He gave it. But he gave the most precious. What is that? Life. When somebody will say, okay, his life is okay. He gave Ali an Asghar. I'm not saying give your children, give money. He gave Akbar. Fathers, you know the love for your sons, you know, and children, you know, and daughters. Everybody here know. Akbar was going, and Hussein couldn't handle it. We get into Masahib slowly, but I want to draw your attention. Donate tonight. Akbar was going. And Abu Abdullah couldn't handle it. But the love, you know, we sacrifice for our children, isn't it? You are fathers, you know what I mean. You mothers, you know what I mean. If your children don't sleep, you don't sleep.
Abu Abdullah walking slowly. He didn't want Akbar to know that he was walking. But immediately Akbar realized, he turned around, he looked at father. Haven't you granted permission? You've given me permission, father. I am going. You know what he said? Oh Akbar, may Allah never show you a moment where you know when your son goes, he will not come back. That's why when Hussein got to the body of Akbar, he was used to Akbar greeting and hugging him with two hands. But this moment, Akbar was lifting only one hand. When Abu Abdullah got to the body of Akbar, he realized Akbar was covering the dagger with the right hand. He then looked at Akbar. Poet said, Abu Abdullah looked towards Najaf. He said, Ya Allah, Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'minin. Oh my father, you lifted the door of Khaybar with your hand. Come and see your son lifting dagger from the chest of his son in Karbala. Abu Abdullah gave Akbar away. Give few pounds in the name of this religion. Now let's go to the holy city of Mecca and remember Bibi Khadija salamullah alayha. Let us all take our hearts to Mecca al-Mukarramah, isn't it? Khadija, toward the end of her life, she would sit next to her beloved daughter Fatima al-Zahra. She said, oh Fatima, I have a request. Fatima, young Fatima, Mom, what is your request? Can you please ask your father when I die, he should use his abaa to cover me. Fatima then went informed the Holy Prophet. Prophet said, Fatima, it is done. But you know, we are told in the narration, they had no food towards the end of the life of Khadija. They would depend on a grass to survive. Khadija would vomit blood. Khadija would look at Fatima and tears would overflow from the eyes of Khadija. But of course, out of that suffering, Khadija sustained a severe fever and she succumbed to the calling of Allah. The Holy Prophet came to bury Khadija. He came with his abaa, he covered Khadija, but the abaa was too small. Prophet, one verse of the narration, raised up his hand in a dua. Ya Allah, I am your Prophet, Rahmatan lil Alameen. And this is your beloved wife Khadija. Here I am to bury her. I have no kafan to bury her. Prophet, while making the dua, Allah sent Jibreel with 5 kafans, isn't it? Rasulullah Jibreel, who are these 5 kafans for you? Jibreel said the first kafan use it to bury your beloved wife Khadija. Allah Akbar, the kafan of Khadija came from heaven. That is one of the status of Khadija in the sight of Allah. The Holy Prophet Jibreel, the second kafan is for her. He said the second kafan is for you, Ya Rasulullah. You remember that moment when it was said to the Holy Prophet, you are hallucinating. Oh Allah, the second kafan was for Rasulullah. Rasulullah asked Jibreel, the third kafan is for who? This breaks the heart of the lover of Fatima al-Zahra. Jibreel said the third kafan is for Fatima al-Zahra. Of course, they pushed the door on Fatima, and the door broke the ribs of Fatima. Of course, Amir al-Mu'minin, while making the ghusl of Fatima, he stopped and cried. Why? Because the hand crossed the broken ribs of Fatima. Allah, Allah, Allah. Amir al-Mu'minin buried Fatima at night. You know, one of the biggest Maslumiyya of Fatima is that I and you don't know where Fatima is buried. I know where my father is buried. You know where your uncle is buried. You know where your mom is buried. But when I go to Medina, I look left and right. I do not know exactly where the mother of mothers is buried. Jibreel said, use the third one to bury Fatima. He asked him now, the fourth kafan is for who? He said, the fourth kafan is for the Shaheed Mihrab Masjid Kufa. When Ali went down in Ruku
and sajda. While Ali was rising up, the enemy struck in the middle of the head of Ali. And then Rasulullah asked Jibreel, the fifth kafan is for who? Allahu Akbar. So the fifth kafan is for Hassan al-Mustapha. When you look at the Mazlumiyah of Imam Hassan, they poisoned him. Allow him to be buried at least. But they struck their arrows on the body of Hassan. Abu Abdullah, when he came to Jannat al-Baqi to bury the brother, he had to remove so many arrows from the body. And the last one, the Holy Prophet asked Jibreel, and the fifth kafan is over. Where is the kafan for Hussein? Allahu Akbar, where is the kafan for Hussein? That was the moment when Jibreel narrated to the Holy Prophet what would happen to Hussein. Because Hussein will be slaughtered like a sheep. Allahu Akbar. Because Hussein will be left alone in Karbala. Because Hussein will be Garib in Karbala. And I said, Ya Rasulullah, indeed, the enemy came and took out his dagger. And the enemy sat on the chest of Abu Abdullah. The enemy pulled the beard of Abu Abdullah. The enemy popped the lips of Abu Abdullah. Allahu Akbar, the enemy began to strike his dagger on the chest and the neck of Abu Abdullah. Eventually he beheaded that. But they came and trampled on the body of Hussein. And they broke each and every bone of Hussein. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Khadija al-Kubra. Ala la'natullah. على القوم الظالمين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.